here we go, the topic of faith. This is a big one because the previous step was about desire. That really strong thought, that powerful thought where it starts to burn in you that motivation to go out and get something, that burning desire where you go all in, right? And that's the kindling, that's the spark that really sets everything in motion. The next step is faith. And that's really when you start to take that thought, that energy, that desire, and then start to translate that into the physical world. And what I mean by that is when you have faith or belief, as I usually like to call it, is when you already act, you imagine, you don't just imagine, you already know. That's the word. You know for a fact that you've already achieved that goal. You start acting and thinking like as if you've already attained that goal. You already have that wealth or money in possession, whatever it is, that belief and faith in that desire. And that's really what translates that thought, which is energy. As we all know, thoughts are energy. It's real energy that you can measure, you can see, you go on those scanners. And desires, when you get that energy and it really transformed it into an actual power. For example, look at Gandhi, right? We all know who Gandhi is. Did he have any money? Did he have an army backing him to attain his goal? No. People with money, people with armies and guns and weapons had tried to overthrow the British rule before and failed. It just caused a lot of misery and a lot of destruction, a lot of pain and hurt and sadness. But what Gandhi did was really, he had the faith. And he acted as if he already happened. He had that victory in his mind, which is what enabled him to move an entire nation to independence through that sheer belief, that power of faith. So you can see that faith really can move mountains. It can really move an entire people to move a certain way. And that's the power of faith. And that's what Gandhi had in spades. And that's what you need to get to as well. So one of the exercises that you can do, and I will set aside actually a homework right after this particular step, is you write down your definite desire. You did that in your previous one, right? You wrote it down. And the next thing is you read it out loud every single day. And there's another another document that you can download and print out or just have on your phone or on your computer that you also should read once a day, every single day. And that's really cement that thought, that desire, and really get you to that point where you believe it. It's already there. So you read it and you believe it as if you've already achieved it. That is faith. That's what moves mountains. That's what moves you into action. Because if you really believed something, if you really were at that state where you already imagined you having it, you act differently. Your attitude, your outlook, your thoughts, your mindset is completely different. So you need to start rewiring that brain of yours into acting as if you've already achieved that goal. That's the power of faith. And that's where everything starts to happen. That's when the magic really starts to take effect. And that's when I can actually start to feel different. I know for me personally, when I started on my journey, using this principle, back even in the corporate world, when I came from nothing, I had no education, I had no college university degree, I didn't even speak Japanese properly. Even worse than now. Even now it's fairly good. I can get by and I can speak in a normal conversation, have meetings, etc. all in Japanese. That's no issue. Still not perfect. People listen to me for good 10-15 minutes and we start talking into like complex things. My vocabulary is at the point where people know, oh yeah, this guy definitely didn't spend his entire life in Japan. However, utilizing these principles, I had the desire. When I came back from Japan, I had nothing. I needed to figure out a way to get my shit together so that I could make something of myself and support my kids and family. So that desire was there, that burning desire, and I was really willing to do anything. I went out there, made a CV, even though I had nothing really to show for it, and I just spammed it out. I went cold calling companies, and I went to like hundreds, probably thousands of interviews in a span of probably less than 6 months. So really just going all out. But I believed that I can do something. There was no other option for me. There was no other plan B of doing something else. For me, I was going to get a respectable, well-paying job no matter my current situation or education or whatever it is that hindered me, that was not something I even bothered to think about. Because I had full faith, full belief in that I was going to get that goal, that job. And lo and behold, I did. And not only was I able to get a great job, of course I had a learning curve. When I joined in, there were really difficult times. That is the same for anyone who's going to be on this dream to attain that success. You're going to have difficult times, but that's when you still need to keep that faith and that belief. And that's when things are going to test you. Life is going to constantly test you. It's going to throw obstacles at you. But if you can hold on, if you can persevere, that's when you know you are getting that much closer to your success. If you can hold on during those difficult times and still keep that faith, still believe in your goal, still believe in what you're after, still believe that you will have it and that you already have it, that's when magic starts happening. And that's what happened to me. By the second year, I was the best performing consultant at the company. And after that, well, the rest is history. I joined another large Fortune 500 or 100, I think, I'm not sure, Autodesk. It's one of the largest companies in the world that creates CAD software. And it's utilized a lot in construction and also designing objects, industrial design, as well as almost all Hollywood movies. They have utilized their software to create their effects. So big company, and I ended up recruiting and joining that company and becoming the person who would manage all of the recruiting for Japan, Korea, Australia, and New Zealand. All from a guy who had no college upbringing, who didn't really speak Japanese that well or that professionally or that perfectly. But here I was. And after that, I helped launch WeWork Japan. I was one of the founding members, and we made that team the most successful business in the world. So WeWork Japan was the most successful, the most fastest growing, the most profitable out of all the regions in the world. And that was done within a year and a half. So you can imagine all of that started with that thought, desire, and then that faith and belief that I've already attained it and I acted as if I did. And that made all the difference because that will translate into action. All right. So that is faith. That is belief. And I want you to take this to heart. Really think about it. Now you have your goal. Last session, last step, you wrote it down, your definite purpose, your definite aim that you want to accomplish, that you want to attain, whether that was a monetary thing or as a lifestyle or a specific habit or whatever business goal you have that in your mind, you wrote it down. Now I want you to read it out loud every single day, twice a day, and then when you get up and when you go to sleep. And when you read it out loud, I want you to believe it. Really believe as if you already had it. If you wrote down, I will have, I want you to change this and to say, I have done it. I have achieved it. And imagine yourself in that place as if you've already have it. Imagine yourself holding on to that goal, living that lifestyle, living that freedom that you desire. Or if it's a monetary goal, imagine you holding that cash or purchasing something with that cash, whatever it is that you are looking to do, that goal you had. That is that belief you need to have. And you need to do that constantly so it starts to literally change your mind and rewires your brain where you really start to affect. Because that's not going to change right away. It's not going to change one day to the next. Faith is going to take time for you to build. That is why it's so important to say this out loud every single day. And there will be a whole a step based on self-affirmation or auto-suggestion, I think is the actual word. But you got to believe it. Every single day, you got to get into that mindset of belief as if you already have it. Every single day, you work on that faith muscle. It doesn't just happen, click one time you believe it. When you do 1 10-minute session of meditation, you get into that zone and then you're done. No, your brain needs to constantly be trained every single day, every single hour, really, until you really, that's just a state of being. That becomes who you are through that belief, through that consistent training of your mind to believe in that, which you may not have yet, but in your mind you already do. That consistency, and once you change that person who you are, once you become part of you, not just saying it, but believing it, and it's just who you are at every moment of every day, you act as if you already have it because that's in your brain. That's who you are now. That's when the magic really starts to take shape, and that's how you start to see results slowly but surely. So that is the step of faith. Now, here's the homework. You can download it, click on the link, It will be there depending on how you access this training, but I will make sure the link is there. Just download the document and read it out loud. You don't need to do this other than downloading it and just reading it out loud every day. All right, so moving on to the next exciting step.